Okay, so cheers for coming along this time. Hopefully we find out some of the administrative creases that there were last time. This week, or this month I should say, we've got one of our new evangelists, Hannah Snell, who's joining me today, and we'll run through and introduce him in a little while. So I'm still the same. I've got a slightly better email address this time, and there's Hannah's details for those that don't know. What we'll do is we're going to just run through kind of an update session this time more than anything else. I'll throw in one little bit of Microsoft Test Manager demo that I like to use from a point of view of a developer using the tool, and we've got a few things coming up around the corner which will be interesting just to cover. I've also tried to include the links this time. Some of the feedback was mentioned lots of websites and so on, and didn't actually put too many of the links in, so people found they had to go around clicking the place, Google, searching for things. So I'll hand over to Hannes.
Hi guys, as just said, my name is Hannes. I've been in New Zealand now for about 7 years. You can probably tell from the accent that I'm from South Africa. Me and Joe enjoy watching rugby together. Him more so than me nowadays, but hopefully that'll change next year. So apart from that, previously I worked for Intergen. I was a senior software developer over there, and I mainly worked with Microsoft in the US to do Windows 8 apps for various keynote demos and stuff that they had on. My role over here in Microsoft now will be to drive the depth engagements with our partners who would like to develop Windows Phone and Windows 8 applications. So I'll be presenting training, I'll be helping them out with whatever roadblocks they encounter, and just generally be the apps man. I invite any of you to contact me if you've got any specific needs around these apps. Please drop me an email and we'll set up a coffee. I can only drink so many coffees in a day, so it might be a tea on my side. But I look forward to meeting many people and walking that app road with you guys. So let's look at the next slide. So one of the things that I wanted to talk about today is Windows 8.1. It's just been released last week, and a lot of people have already migrated to it. I think within a month or two we'll probably see a very, very significant part of the current installed Windows 8 base move to it. I haven't got any metrics right now to share with you though. So how does that affect you as developers? Well, you need to upgrade your apps. If your app is currently in the store, it will run on Windows 8.1, but here and there might be an issue or two. One of the things that we've noticed was that the Flexbox doesn't work quite the way that it's supposed to if you were running an HTML app. So yeah, that's changed. So you do have to test your apps at a bare minimum and rebuild them and resubmit them for Windows 8.1. You can run side-by-side apps in the store. So when you submit your app in the manifest, it says which version of Windows it's certified for, and you can have two versions in there, one version for Windows 8, another one for Windows 8.1. When you publish a new app though, make sure that your Windows 8.1 version number is much higher than your Windows 8.1, so that you can publish updates to your version 8.1, to your version 8 app, as well as your 8.1 app if you need to fix bugs and support both. But the app package ID, the family name, has to be the same. The store will automatically give the correct version to the user depending on what version of Windows they're running. So there's an app upgrade guide. At Build 2013, there was a very good talk about porting your apps from Windows 8 to Windows 8.1. So thinking about how to use the new controls, how to use things like search, and fixing some of the things that might break along the way. We've included the link in the slides, so have a look at that particular video. Then there's also very, very good documentation on MSDN detailing the new APIs, the new features that you can exploit, and the new controls. So have a look for that. We haven't got the link for that one on here, but it's easy enough to find. There's a few articles about it, and they all cross-reference each other. Then also recently, some new apps have been announced for Windows. Facebook has just been launched. It's already available in the store. Go have a look at that one. It looks very much like the Windows Phone version, but it's an interesting take on the modern design language. What I like about it is that it doesn't just follow the standard stencil cutout. This is a Windows 8 app. They've played around a bit and really imbued it with their own flair. Then some of the other apps are Vine, Instagram, and Flipboard. They've all been announced. They're not quite there yet. I don't have a timeline for when they'll be available, but it'll be soon. Yeah. Next slide.
Thanks. Has anyone got any questions about that? I'll let you be unmuted if you want to be. Nope. Okay. So this month, for those of you that aren't using TFS service or Team Foundation service, there's been a bunch of look and feel changes applied. It's pretty noticeable. It's the first thing you see when you go in there. The main, I guess, point of that is trying to open up some more room using, higher res screens and so on. So as you can see there in that picture, they've pulled the news feed in, which used to only be on the main site. So if you go straight into your team project, now at least you can see any of the sort of news that I'm putting out on these slides. You'll see that inside TFS. And I've got another slide that shows that too. So this is the change to the main dashboard page. It's introduced a sort of a series of how to do stuff, guidance, and you can actually shut that down if you don't want to look at it. But again, the little widget things move around as you expand the screen out, so just to give more room. Particularly good on large screens if you hang them on the wall for teams to use, especially with the dashboard. Okay, so then the other couple of things that have come out just recently is that if you remember, it used to get taken into the current team room, and it was particularly annoying for those of us that demo team rooms when you've loaded up a team room with all kinds of nice things and then you go, hey, my team room's empty. Now, the last time you were in one, it remembers that, takes you there. And then probably the interesting, I guess, supporting piece is the upgrade behind the scenes of the build OS. So now that that's on 2012 R2, you can get in there and do your 8.1 apps through the build. Previously, you had to spin up an agent in a VM separately and do it that way. And it's still a valid option, but this way it's all just ready to go. In terms of Visual Studio launch, we're 2 weeks away roughly before it's generally available. Most people I assume most people that attend these webinars and who read the various blogs and things that I'll link to later, they're mostly on MSDN and hopefully have realised that 2013 is actually available to MSDN subscribers already. So it's not really probably news to you if you already have that, but for the rest of the world, it comes out on the 13th, and I've announced it sort of towards the end, but we are going to be running at this stage 2 events, Auckland and Wellington, in the week of the 25th of November. Expect invites shortly. And then these links on the screen here, the first one is Scott Hanselman's take. It's pretty good. It's chunked up into small videos. so you can get a good feel for some of the new things that are in the product. And the second one is the official story on the Visual Studio website. I encourage you to read both of those. Okay, MSDN. See if that's actually readable. So MSDN hasn't changed yet. I could expect there will be some GA changes, but we'll have to wait and see. Some of these things we're just talking about, the Azure entitlement credits have been put in there, and it's all fairly similar. So I just thought I'd include that for people as reference. If you download this presentation while I'm doing the webinar, you can just get it through the managed content. Otherwise, I'll put that up onto the site too at the end for you to have a look at. Right, so what I was going to show is how I like to use Microsoft Test Manager when I'm sort of proofing out an application. So you finish writing code, you want to go and break it, and you don't always follow a structured test plan. So it's just a case of spin it up and click things until it breaks. And then, as you can imagine, when you find those things, quite often you are taking screenshots or whatever, capturing that into Word docs or OneNote or various other products like that, and then you're passing it off to someone else, and you can actually avoid doing quite a lot of the sort of I don't know, call it drudge work if you like, of putting all that together if you use Microsoft Test Manager, just to help you out. So I'm going to just change this up to desktop. Okay. You guys can see that, hopefully. Can you ping me in the chat if you can see it yet? Is it streamed down? Cool, thank you, Luke. Okay, so in my particular example here, I'm using the TradeMe site, and I'm just, you can imagine I'm working at TradeMe, and I've just finished updating something on here, and we want to go and flex it out. If we come into the Microsoft Test Manager product, in the top here you see plan, the test, and the track. Now that's the way that the testing approach is being structured. But if you were inside plan here, you would be putting together test suites and grabbing requirements and pulling in different tests and so on, and creating tests and that. But when you come into the test tab, this is where you can just do your exploratory testing. So if I click this link here, I've created a few a few sample tasks inside this site, as if I was going to go and build a website of my own. In this case, you can see I've got create a home page and processing payments and so on. One of the things you can do is when you click, you can just go and click explore here. So I'm going to do that, and that starts up the test runner. I'll just move that over here, make that a bit bigger. Okay, so now when I start testing this, it's going to warn me that it's watching what I'm doing, and that's so you now know that you're inside your test and you're ready to go. The test runner will sorry, thought someone was talking. The test runner will monitor what I'm doing under the hood based on a bunch of properties that you can change. By default, we've got the action list getting captured for us, and that'll go and create little screenshots of where we click. So if I was to come into the TradeMe site the first time, and then I was to go and click, browse for some, let's go and browse for a phone, and then we'll go and browse for a Windows 8 phone. Right, so let's say that I was looking at this one and I've just coded this up to create these list items, and let's say this new thing here wasn't meant to be orange with a box around it, it was meant to be green and shiny or something like that, and we didn't like it. What we could do is we could go and take a little screenshot here, clicking the add screenshot button, and then we can come down here and say, drag that around there, and it will take a little picture of that and put it in our session. And then we could even make a note, say something like the new button should have been green and shiny. And then if we thought that was a bug as well, we don't have to go and create a bug at this point, but let's say we did, then we would just click the create bug thing at the top. And now you'll see that it's gone and captured kind of everything I've done, and you'll see that it's captured stuff, more stuff than I probably would have wanted. So if we were to come up into this change steps thing, what we can do is we can come in and we can just pick the ones we want. Equally, we can come and just delete them out of here. So we don't really care about clicking that was me just getting ready, I suppose, clicking around these things. So we delete them. So what we want is the first step to be basically navigate to that site, and then click browse, and then click the phones, then type in a search, then go down and say, hey look, that new thing isn't right. You'll see it's grabbed the observation, it's grabbed my text, and it's also grabbed the action log and the system info by default, so we didn't set any of that up. Now if I wanted to, I could come over here and put other things in, and they may well be added to later on as well, once we work out that this is a valid thing. And in the bug we could say new button wasn't green and shiny. Sign it over to me like so. Now if you want, at this point what you can do is you can just save and close out of there, or you can save someone the time down the track and actually create a test. So if we save that and create the test, we get all those steps. Remember, we didn't want those first couple, so get rid of them. And it's taken our test, turned out all the different steps to reproduce it there. Now the expected result is where we want the test to alert the person who's running the test down the track to look for something. And so this is going to become a manual test at this point. So we want them to say, the new button should be green and shiny. And then up here in the title, we need probably the same kind of message. The test be check that it's green and shiny. Okay. And then we can save and close that, and you'll see it's saved us all that time of typing out how did I make this thing, how did I get to a point in my application where it wasn't doing what I thought it was meant to be doing. So we can save and get out of there. Now once it's done that, you'll see that the test runner on the side has updated, and it's made a note that we made a bug and we made a test case. Now if we were to end our test, and we can carry on now and do more and more testing, but if we were now to end our testing session, what you'll see, if I open this back up, is it's recorded the details of our testing session. Some companies care a lot about this, other companies don't care so much. But what we can see here at pretty easy glimpse is in 2 minutes spent testing, we found a bug and we created a test case. That's pretty good use of 2 minutes of your time. And for the people that care about the way that the test effort, or that particularly when it's exploratory, the way that that is spent, is it productive time and so on. This is a really good way of seeing that. Equally, we can come and see the new bug and the new test that we created. Okay, so then we can save that down.
Yeah, this is particularly useful if you've got non-traditional testers doing testing, like project managers and business analysts. They will almost certainly not be familiar with the standard test tools that our testers might be using. And they most certainly won't want to open up Visual Studio to guide their testing effort. But this gives you a way to really easily surface their testing efforts into our own DevTools.
Yep, exactly. And then once that test was created, if we were to now come back and say we wanted to add that shiny one into this test suite here, we would just go back to plan, and we would add over here. Hopefully I'm going at the right speed for you guys. And then we run this query which pulls up all the test cases. And you'll see that new one we created there. Check that the new button's green and shiny. We've got that there. We can add it in. So we've pulled that in to our list of tests. And then if we were to go back and look in our regression test suite, and we've got this check that the new button is green and shiny, we could go and run that. Oh, I'm going too fast. No, sorry. We've got a late comer. Sorry. Okay, so then if we were going to, we could then run that test. And now what you'll see is the output of that test that we've created. We'll deal with action recording another time. So you'll see all the steps that we created without sort of typing anything are there, ready to go. And probably the thing that's worth mentioning here is this last one, which has the little tick in it. Well, that shows you that that's got an expectation that you need to do something with. All these other ones are just steps in it. Now, if we go and do what we're told and follow this test through, we've got to go and navigate back to the home page. So, go back there. And then that worked. And we say, yep, that worked. And there's keys, obviously, so you don't have to click everything. But if we were to click Browse, do what it's saying, mobile phones, down here. So those both worked. Then what we did is we typed in here. And you'll see this is basically tracking exactly what would occur if a tester was following this test through. Yeah, that worked okay. And then we found this one down here. And it's saying, is the new button green and shiny? No, actually it's still failing. So let's put in a note now that says no, it's still red. And so we've failed that test at that point. So end that test. So hopefully you guys will have seen that. So now it's updated, right? It should have been green and shiny, but it isn't. It's failed. And you see, it didn't take me very much time at all to get that test in there, just from having. Obviously I've created something that's not correct, but when you've got a lot of people writing code who are then testing their applications, trying to find reproducible bugs which they can pass on to other people to fix, and then equally improving the downstream effect for the testers who are involved so that they can get in there sooner, you've actually saved them quite a bit of work by creating all of those steps to reproduce. They can then go and look at that test. If we were to open up that test, they can come in. They can come in and see that this test was run and that it failed, and that while it was running, it gathered a bunch of details down here, stuff for, system info and the action logs, and it can see, that it's still red, why it failed and so on. And then they can add their sort of test magic to it. Maybe the steps aren't quite right, maybe they want to do something else or have a different expectation. But yeah, so hopefully that was kind of interesting. I think it's a really good tool for people who do that kind of click around the place testing, and save you having to manage other documents which might then have to live on an intranet or whatever. It can all just be part of your dev build and available to your other members of the team. Cool. So
yeah, and then just from my side, Microsoft Test Manager can also be used with Windows 8 apps if you want to test them. It's not just web apps. There's a few caveats in getting it set up and running it, but it's relatively straightforward. Stop presenting. Cool, so should we go back to our presentation?
Yep. Okay. Guys, got any questions about that? No questions? All good?
I've got a link to a MSDN document about using Test Manager for Windows 8 apps, and I'll tweet that. So if any of you guys are not following me and want to see that tweet, you can find me at HannesN, HANNESN.
Okay. So that was just a little demo for this week. So, like I said before, we've got the launch coming up on the 13th. There's a conference down in Dunedin, DevMob. Hannes is going to talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, so myself and one of my other colleagues, Tiago Almeida, will be at DevMob talking about Windows 8 apps and Azure. Tiago is our technical evangelist for Windows Azure. So, yeah. DevMob itself is a non-Microsoft event that's set up to speak to the mobile developer community. .NET is relatively new to that community and to that conference. But yeah, attend that and expect to see a wide variety of views and a wide variety of talks.
Cool. Then, like I said, in the week of the 25th to the 29th, we've got the Visual Studio launch. I haven't put down any specific dates there. We're still finalising them ourselves, but look out for events in at least Auckland, Wellington, and possibly in Christchurch in that week. And then we also thought we'd just call out the Imagine Cup. Preparation is sort of underway for that. For those people that sort of know what that is or don't know what that is, it's the sort of getting students involved in dreaming big on the Microsoft platform.
Yeah, so this year's event is an online-only event, which will make it much easier for teams from across the country to participate in it. It's open for anybody who's enrolled as a student, and that even includes people doing their PhDs. We've also got in contact with the Media Design School, so their students will now also enroll into this. And with the kind of courses that they're presenting over there, we hope to see a bit of a shift in the kinds of apps and entries that we'll get. But yeah, we're all very excited about that. Our colleague over here is Ryan Tarek. He takes care of all the arrangements around the Imagine Cup, and he's the guy to contact if you need any more details on that one.
Cool. Okay, so the next time we do one of these, the product will be available, and I will obviously be able to announce a whole lot more stuff that is currently embargoed, and probably looking into Christmas and the New Year, we'll be looking to do more events around the country, and just get the product out there in front of people. It's pretty cool times. If you didn't know, we're basically capturing the videos that we're doing here, and I'm aggregating them into my blog on the MSDN site. So tell people if they missed and there's things they would like to watch, or there's items of links or whatever it happens to be. I'll put all of those PowerPoints up onto the blog, and at the moment we've got the links through to the videos as well. So go and take a look there. I'm also putting up, as I get them, interesting events that you can sign up for. That there might be online training events and so on, and links. So like the Hanselman new and cool Visual Studio 2013 link that I had earlier in the presentation. I've had that up on the blog, for example. Yeah. Otherwise, that's us for this time. It's nice and short. Yeah, like I say, the next one I'll probably just be a whole presentation on what's new and what's new that we haven't been allowed to announce. So definitely keep your eyes out for that one. Like I said, last Tuesday of the month. Cool. Thank you all for attending. Hopefully it was interesting, enlightening.